The following is a KPB Media Works production.
Choose your fighter.
What is going on, everyone? This is KPB Rodimus Prime, and we are here for the second season of KPBCast. Now, for those who were watching the podcast in its initial stages, it was hosted by Raphael, who's now on a leave. He's going to be a parent, so congrats to him. I got to do his fatherly duties, and he blessed me to take over and make sure that this podcast keeps going, and hopefully I do right by him. And we're going to get into it. So first, we're going to start with our first guest of this new season. He is a stalwart figure in the New York City KOF community. Awesome player, awesome personality. I want to introduce to you guys Romulus Booker, aka Rome himself. Rome, how are you doing today, man?
Yo, Roddy, man, I'm doing pretty great, man. I'm really happy to be the first guest of season 1, dude. That's awesome, man. Privilege, bro.
Season two.
Thank you.
Season 2.
And yeah, but I'm doing. Oh, yeah, season 2. My bad. Oops. All right, still waking up here. But yo, man, seriously, thank you guys for having me on, and appreciate the kind words, dude.
Nah, no problem. I just someone that's on my mind, and I thought we can talk and pick your brain, just to see where you're coming from. So where's what are your home beginnings? Like, tell me a little about the beginning of Rome.
All right, so Romulus Booker, the government name, I was born in New York, Brooklyn specifically. Grew up. I was born in '91, so I was around all that like cool, dope, like just hip hop culture and just like the cool like street kind of culture, right, of New York. Like I grew up in that, and I think the earliest like I started playing games, I had to be like maybe 1 or 2. And the first game I remember playing, which is the game I love for like near and dear to my heart, is Streets of Rage 2. First game I've ever remembered playing. Fell in love with that game. Was hooked. The music was dope. Everything about the game just like perfect, dude. Like loved it. So I guess I started with that, and then always got other games. Started to get into fighting games. My father's a gamer, so that helped. So he would always buy stuff, and I remember we had Street Fighter 2, the Genesis port. I don't know if you guys remember that terrible
Oh yeah, of course.
Genesis port had like 3 controllers.
But let me backtrack. I don't mean to cut you off. Let me backtrack. You were 2 playing these games, like 2 years old. You remember this stuff at 2?
No, my earliest memory, I had to be about 2 or 3. This is about maybe 93, 94. My earliest memory was seeing my brother and my dad try to beat Streets of Rage 2 Mania mode. That's my earliest gaming memory. Okay, but the earliest games I remember playing was like Streets of Rage 2 and Street Fighter 2 and like Mega Man X. Like those are like the 3 games I remember being really young, like 3 years old, playing those games. That I definitely remember.
Awesome. What are some of your favorite titles that have gotten you through like your childhood? Like, just through your adulthood, through your different phases. Like, what are your favorite, like, let's say in the first 10, 15 years, what are some of your favorite life-changing games?
First 10 years, I'd say life-changing games. Probably Super Mario 64. I was addicted to that game. There's a unknown game called Mischief Makers on the N64. It's really cool.
Okay.
In terms of fighting games, Bloody Roar. I don't know. A lot of people are not too much into that, but I love Bloody Roar.
I love this. Never a fan, but everyone around me loved the game, so I respect it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the game was dope. It was a cool game. Bloody Roar, the Alpha series, specifically Street Fighter Alpha 2, was at like when I was a kid. I religiously played that on the Saturn because I had a Saturn, so I played that game so much. That's probably even my earliest memory of liking like video game music. Like besides Streets of Rage, obviously, but like Alpha 2, put so much time into Alpha 2 as a kid. Was addicted to that game, so I'd say like Alpha 2, Bloody Roar. I'd say Mortal Kombat 4, which is another rough game, but I played that a lot on the PS1, so and I loved it. I know it's kind of a bad game, but I don't care.
I respect it. It might have not been bad to you, especially if that's all you've known at the time. But it's your journey, man. So you definitely we love it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, for the teenage years, I would say the Soul Calibur games. I played a lot of those. As a teenager, I was really like into like the Weapon Master mode and things like that. So I played a lot of single player fighting game content. I was really big on. Like, even though I had cousins that played and friends I play with, weekends, I was always into like single player fighting game content, like the story modes and stuff. So I was really big on that. And like, obviously, the I'd probably say the my favorite game as an early teen as a fighting game is Melee. I'd say that.
Okay, all right. I think
Yeah.
it's underrated, like the one player or the solo player fighting game experience, especially people like us who are in the fighting community who are like, all we do is like fight with live opponents or look at live opponents fighting each other. Like there is
Yeah.
a love for like the one player fight the CPU, you know, see how far it can
Mm-hmm.
get, and you can learn some things. I think you can learn like a lot of reaction times, especially in more difficult levels. Um, I remember playing like Alpha One and like playing Alpha One on like level 8 and stuff. And like this one thing happened to me that like I'm just so salty about to this day. Like I'm playing the game and I'm going through the game. I don't lose a round. Uh, I get to Akuma. I'm playing Ken, right? I get to Akuma, and Akuma, level 8, ridiculous, right? So you go.
Yeah.
He beats me the first round. I beat him second round. It comes down to like the third round, and like I remember like he had like maybe 3 or 4 ticks of chip, and I hit him with the
Mm-hmm.
level 3 like show you can. I mean the show you repa, and like in the middle of the block string, like he raging demons me. Like he eats like the
Oh,
first like 5 hits, and then the last hit that
yeah.
would have killed him, he like as I landed for the last dragon punch, he he did it like in the middle of the block string, and I lost
Oh,
my
that's
mind.
insane.
I took my PS1 controller and I flew it like a frisbee, and like it yanked the whole system out of the like, because I was so
Damn,
upset. That's like the one time I like damaged my system because I was salty. So I
that would have been
definitely.
a hype as like tournament. Like if someone actually did that in bracket,
I don't
that would
think
be
it's
the
something.
sick.
I don't think it was something you could do. I think it was one of those like level 8. Let me get extra powers. Let me defy the
Yeah,
the frame advantage or the frame data and do whatever the hell I want, kind of thing. So
I have a similar situation. It wasn't like they didn't do nothing stylish like that, but I broke a PS2 controller fighting Gil, Third Strike Gil on like level 8 too. I think it was. Broke a pad because of resurrection, dude. I was triggered. Ripped my pad in half. I had my cousin, God bless her, she's watching me in the background. She still brings us up to this day because she's a gamer. But yeah, I broke my PS2 pad. I was triggered. I didn't play Third Strike for a while. It was the was it the 15th anniversary collection they had on the PS2? That was that. I
yeah, I
ripped
remember that.
I was triggered, man.
That's definitely. What are your top 3 non-fighting game titles?
Ooh, it's kind of hard to say a title. Can I tell you like a series? Like maybe the
Yeah, let's,
series
let's
of
go
the
with
games
series. Yeah,
or
that's fine.
series? Okay, Mega Man. Mega
Mega
Man
Man.
is without a doubt, classic X. Now the Zero games, because I played those first time this year and I fell in love with them. Those games are without a doubt my favorite. I can play any Mega Man game at any time. It doesn't matter. Um, After that, I'd say non-fighting games. I'd say Mario games too. I'm really big on Mario. Super Mario World, 64,
Is it Mario or
Sunshine,
like the whole Mario universe? Anything in Mario?
the whole universe. I mean, if I had to pick one Mario game, it would probably be Super Mario World. I can play that one like every day too. Love
Yes,
that game.
that's a fun game. Yes.
Still, it's so good. Yeah, it's so good. And then 3, this is because I mean I love fighting games, but like number 3, I'd say hmm, I want to say Halo series.
Okay.
I haven't played as much of it now, but I was really big into like Halo and Halo 2, Halo 3, like to the point of like I almost went the competitive route back
Okay.
in the day when I would play like it was a hobby league store I would play at. And I almost went that route because I love those games. I play those games. I put a lot of time into those games as well. So um I guess I could say that. But I mean I love, there's a lot of games I play, a lot of miscellaneous games, but I think my top 3 series will probably be Mega Man, Mario, and yeah, and I'd say Halo. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think those are good choices. Those are good classic choices. I don't think there's many people that would argue with those choices. I think they're good. Um, So going into that, like you're now like in your adulthood, what got you started really getting invested in the FGC? Like what was your life kind of before that, and what was the catalyst? Like what pushed you into, man, this is a little niche community. I want to see what I can do here.
All right, so it's different for me because I've played fighting games my entire life, it's always been one of my favorite, if not my favorite genre. But for some reason, I just never knew about competitive play. I just would never think that it would exist. So I always loved it, always played it. I would go to there was a game store in downtown Brooklyn. I think it's still there. It's called Game Champ. Me and my friend would go there every other Friday, and they had a CVS 2 cab, a Marvel 2 cab, and at one time they had SVC, but that didn't last long. And we went there, and we would always go every other Friday because my friend would buy like these anime DVDs. Like this was back when this is like 2002, right? 2003. So you can't really. There's not a lot of streaming websites, or if anything like that, in terms of watching anime. Right. So you start to buy like the DVDs with like 4 or 5 episodes. So anyways, he would go there, he'd buy it, and we would see people playing, and see people playing CVS 2 or Marvel 2, doing all this crazy hype stuff, and we would watch it, and it was always cool. But once again, it just never crossed my mind that there was a scene, there was an actual scene or anything like that. So anyways, fast forward a little bit, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively. I used to be really into Yu-Gi-Oh in the mid 2000s. Played that a lot. Started going to a hobby league store. That's the one I was saying I used to play Halo at. They had a Marvel 2 cab there. Used to see people crack out on that. I'm like, man, this is still pretty cool, but I just never really got into it. It was so weird. So this is where, like, I guess the fighting game kind of like when I was aware of a community. I was playing. Hold on one second. Hold on, dude, you can't play in the room. Dog, bring her toy and play. I'm sorry about that. I just
totally fine.
Yeah, my bad. No, dude. All right, yeah. So, sorry about that. So I guess when it came to fighting games was I would play with friends. This is like, I want to say this is like a little bit later. This is like towards high school and towards the end. So like 2009, 2010. When Street Fighter 4 was out on consoles, I would always play with friends, and you just cut school, go play with friends, stuff like that. And then one Saturday, weirdest thing. One Saturday, we all went to my friend's house at the time to play some games, and he had another friend that was there, and they were practicing. And the friend was like, "Oh," he was like, "Yo, there's a tournament. There's gonna be a tournament. It's this Best Buy in Queens." He's like, "Oh, there's a tournament there," and my friend's like, "Yo, you should go. You're like really good." But I'm like, "Oh, there's like an actual Street Fighter tournament. That's cool. Let's like." So we all just went, but I'm not thinking anything of it. And this is actually the first tournament I've ever been to, and I actually won the tournament.
Nice.
And I actually have the trophy here, which is, it's kind of weird that Best Buy has a trophy, but I have the trophy. And someone there told me like, "Yo, do you go to Chinatown Fair?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And I didn't know what that was. And he's like, "Yeah, like all the best players in New York go there, this and that." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, there's more to this." I thought it was just a random Best Buy event, because I would see like in high school, I would see on the computers like people watching the Third Strike Cooperation Cups. I would see those in the library, but I thought that was a Japanese thing. Again, like I'm not thinking that, oh, there's an actual scene. I'm thinking, oh, this is Japan. Japan's always been ahead of us on gaming. So I'm just thinking, oh, only Japan has events like this. I'm not thinking there's anything in America like this at all. So anyway, kids are telling me, they're like, "Yo, your Rose is good." I was abusing Soul Satellite. This is when it was like really cheap. It was like 0 frame. So I was just abusing it. I won the whole thing abusing that tournament. And at the time, like I said, I don't know anything about anything competitive. I was just fairly decent because I played fighting games my whole life. So anyways, we go to Chinatown Fair one day, and then you know what happens there. It gets cooked by everybody. So I'm like, I'm thinking I'm the man. I won this Best Buy tournament. Go to Chinatown Fair, and that's it. Bodied by everybody.
Yes, that's definitely the place to get your bearings straight and like really gauge yourself. I definitely have my own stories of going to Chinatown, and I had some wins, and I definitely had some losses as well. In the various games across across the different types of fighting games they have there. They have pretty much everything there at the time. Older versions, newer versions. So you already know what it was like. But I have a similar story doing the GameStop. I did the GameStop tournament. It started locally in like each store, and then like each store had to go to a regional, all the way to the finals. I think that's the one that was documented in King of Chinatown. Have you ever seen it?
Oh yeah, I love that
Yeah,
movie.
so that's the one that's documented. I actually met some of the founding KPB members that way, because
cool.
in the store that I won, they picked two winners. So I actually won. Me and this other guy won, who ended up being later on one of my my founding members of KPB. It was the same situation. You come against people that are very casual. You know, you can tell they just there were these guys that came in one time. I don't know if you remember the Staples commercial with the easy button.
Nah.
No, there was a
But
commercial. Yeah, it
where
was
you're
like,
going with.
yeah, it was like you remember Steve? Yeah, Steve's laughing. So there used to be these commercials where it's like Staples makes everything easy, and there was like this easy button. So I remember these guys came in like these white tees, and they had like these red bandanas, and like the whole time they're like, "Oh man, this tournament's gonna be easy," and they had this big old easy button. They kept pressing it, and I'm like,
What the
I'm getting annoyed. I'm like, okay, man, whatever. And it was funny because they all got smoked in like the first round and like left. so
Of
so like
course,
this
of
big
course.
hoopla for no reason. But yeah, it's funny because all you see is like the casual gamers and stuff, and it's like it's funny when I qualified and went to the next one in the Bronx, Rico Suave ended up winning that. You know, so and that's like the first time I saw Rico Suave ever play, and like he played Abel at the time, so it's just like
Yep.
so he was
Godlike.
just smoking
Godlike.
it. But I definitely had the same like kind of like this is me coming back into the community kind of deal because I used to be in it and then I was out. But yeah, man, similar paths, man. It's interesting. Very small knit community. There's like so many things that are intertwined and like it's a small world. You'll find people around the corner that love it. You know, if you give them
Yeah,
a chance.
it's cool, and I love to ask people too, like how they started, because I like hearing like the same stories. I like, yeah, yo, there's a pizzeria that had Marvel One, and then there's a laundromat that had this, because I'm like, yo, that's the same thing I went through. Like I had laundromats and pizzerias and like local like convenience stores that just had like a random cabinet, and you just crack out on it, and then you get better. So it is cool. It is niche, but it's dope that we all have like similar ways that we got in.
Awesome. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, in honor of Raphael, who started this podcast, how you feel about some wrestling these days. Being that Rob is a big wrestling fan in the sports, who are some of your favorite wrestlers that you? I know you're a wrestling fan. We talked about wrestling before, definitely.
Sure.
Who are some of your favorite wrestlers that you follow right now?
Wrestling right now is this is the worst it's ever been. I'm 28 and I have not watched this is the least amount of wrestling I've watched my entire life. Like it was probably one of my favorite hobbies next to gaming, or just things like media, I should say.
Right.
It's just rough, dude. It's rough to watch right now. I mean, I still have people like I love, like AJ Styles. I've watched him since the TNA days. Always gonna be a fan of his. The Hurt Business, I think they look pretty cool, and I like Lashley.
They do.
I think Lashley is that good. He just WWE doesn't know what to do with him. But
yeah, it's disappointing when you say that, because when you have the advent of AEW and then these other companies, so not just AEW, you got a couple of decent companies out here.
Yeah.
The whole thing that everyone could agree on at one point was that there was no real competition. You have real competition, and I feel like people still aren't trying their best. And that's every organization. Like I'm in some of the forums on Facebook. It's a lot of AEW fanboys just to be AEW fanboys, and they're not there yet. They got some talent, but they're not there yet. The only thing I like right now in wrestling, honestly, is Roman Reigns.
Oh man,
That's
when I heard what they did,
yeah.
And I heard what they did, I was like, okay, I might turn the TV on to see what's going on. I might.
That has been awesome. I liked it. I will hope to see where it goes. I feel like so if you haven't been watching, so he came back. He won a title. Jey Uso won a fatal 4-way to become a number one contender. So now is the two cousins. They're like at it, but there's been no physicality yet between them. which has been interesting. It's just going on 3 weeks now. Usually that when a feud happens, there's some sort of physicality. The heel gets in, a beat down. If I had to guess what's going to happen, I think he's going to go into their match and really beat the crap out of him, so bad for not touching him all this time, to really establish himself as probably the top heel in the company right now. That's my hope for where this is going right now initially. That
would be the best play, to be honest. Just have him kill Jey Uso.
Kill him. They tag team everything. They're cool brother stuff, but they still got the title shot together, right? They got the match together, and so far he's done nothing physically to Jey or vice versa. So I feel like they're gonna wait until that match, and he's just kind of gonna railroad him, he's gonna obliterate him, Brock Lesnar style. It's not gonna be a quick match. He's gonna torment his cousin, just to make it look F family. This is about me now,
If
that's
he's
my
doing
hope.
this to family, imagine what he's gonna do to people who isn't his family. That's the point you want to get across with this. Yeah, and I hope they do. I hope they hit it home run, because I mean, Lord knows we've been wanting this for what, 5 years now. We've been wanting someone darker reigns, dude.
Yeah, because Brock is no longer in the contract, I believe. So he's
for now he'll be back.
But I'm not worried about that. But yeah, I don't want to touch on that. That's just a little Ralph piece. I know he would like to see that.
I still love wrestling. It's just hard to watch now. You know what wrestling I'm watching now? I am currently in November of 1999 of WWE. I've been watching back.
Oh my
God. I've been watching the network. I just been watching that. I'm right at Survivor Series. Rock versus Triple H versus Stone Cold.
Trying to be a historian? You're trying to get the D'Lo Browns in real quick?
Trying to get it in there, man. I mean, listen, I was watching that stuff as a kid, but I wasn't old enough to really understand certain things. And now I do. I'm watching that, man. It's just really hard to watch the product. And I wish all the love and hope for AEW, because I want them to prosper. And I think they got a solid roster. They just still got to work out a few things. But wrestling is just even like you said with social media, man, wrestling Twitter was killing me. Every day it was, AEW sucks from WWE fans, and then vice versa. Just the constant arguing over ratings, the constant arguing over talent, and this person's copying that person and blah, blah, blah. I'm just man, it's wrestling fans are it's embarrassing to be called a wrestling fan sometimes, the way people act on social media.
Yes.
I don't even try to tell people coworkers that I'm into wrestling anymore because of wrestling fans.
Embarrassed, finally embarrassed about your hobby. You're oh my God, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, I'm so. But I mean, I don't watch. I keep in the know because I have friends that still watch and I listen to podcasts. So it's I'll know. I knew about the Roman Reigns stuff even though I'm not watching. But I'm this might make me want to turn it on just to see how well he's doing. So let's see. Hopefully they do right by him because he needs this. Yeah, we need this as a fan,
the other side of it will be him winning the title, which would be wild, but I doubt that would happen.
Oh, Jey Uso? Nah.
Yeah.
That's not happening. That's
be
not
wild.
happening.
So, what do we not know about you, the public at large, about Rome? Give us something. Something you want to talk about, something that wow, I didn't know that about you. Something that gives us that little shock.
Oh man, that's gotta think because I don't know. I try to usually just give. I mean, something that you
doesn't have to be too racy, uncomfortable, nothing like that. Just something that I'll go. Wow, I didn't know that about you, Ron. You milk cows. I didn't know that.
I definitely milk cows, but not. Nah. What's something about me? I guess. I'm kind of. You know what is? I know a lot of times I'm viewed as as someone that has kind of an explosive personality. I love to talk a lot. I love to be hype and engage and stuff when I'm at events, and I'm all about turning it up. But honestly, one of my favorite hobbies is literally laying on my back, looking at clouds and listening to music.
That's chill.
That's something I could do. Was that?
No, that's chill. That's a very chill. You go to a nice spot, a park. Sometimes you don't make it. A nice windy day, not too cold, not too warm. Just watch the clouds move. It's relaxing.
Vibing, yep.
It's relaxing. It's actually therapeutic to just sit there and watch the clouds. Stop what you're doing. Slow down in life a bit,
Literally, just laying back, got music on, looking at clouds. That's something I did a bit as a kid when I would go to parks, and it's something I still do to this day. It's just it like you said, it relaxes you, keeps you calm. And sometimes you just gotta let your mind free. Especially right now during this whole COVID situation, a lot of people are like too much in their mind, and it's
Right.
causing them to be a little, their mental is not as strong. Just laying back and looking at the clouds and listening to like lo-fi or just any type of music, dude, like anything, that just kind of relaxes you. That's it, man. I recommend anybody trying that at least once in their life. That's something I like. I definitely like to do that. I figured maybe people might not know. I couldn't think of anything else on the spot, but I think that's something I like to hold near and dear to me.
No, that's definitely that's you being you. That's you being real. Real humans here. Talking. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Where would you have seen yourself this year if COVID wasn't an issue on the FGC?
Man, fuck COVID, bro. Listen, man.
Listen, we
I
all had plans
so-
and dreams and shattered.
Oh my god.
But what would
dude.
you have seen yourself doing this year?
I mean, put it like this. All I'm gonna say is, because I started taking commentary a bit more serious in the past like year and a half or so.
Mhm.
And let's just say I was talking to some people and I was gonna have a really prominent spot at a really big tournament this year overseas. And
Nice.
Corona said no.
No.
So
I hear
I'm just
that,
really
man.
upset about that. Really upset. In terms of the FGC though, I mean, I would have just been doing my thing. I would have been still trying to rock the mic because I was already slowing down with competitive play. So I was just gonna still, support my locals, support my majors, make more connections. I really wanted to branch out more into just, esports as a whole because I went to PAX East and there wasn't much fighting games there. I was just doing a lot of networking with like regular game companies and producers and things like that. So I was just really gonna push that even more this year. Like I had like this year was gonna be my year for like breakout for commentary. Like I wanted people to know, yo, Rome is here. Like Rome is dope. Listen to my fucking voice. Like I was really trying to put the work down. Not just for me, but for my team as well. And
Definitely.
it's just
It's been a pleasure to have you on our streams when we did, the times, and you're always welcome to come back on our streams for sure. And
Thank you.
bless us with your knowledge, and your advice.
I mean, you guys are the goats. I actually owe you guys for like starting me with commentary because y'all put me on. Back when you guys were running the Chinatown beatdowns, y'all would put me on. I would ask, and it would be like a chill local, but you guys would put me on. And Afro, man, Afro took me under his wing. Big shout outs to Afro. So I appreciate you guys for
Shouts
giving
out
me
to
a platform.
He'll be up soon on his show to see his stuff soon. So yeah, in the upcoming weeks. So you'll see him.
Ooh, spoilers, yo.
Yeah, spoilers.
But basically that I would say that was it. Is I had real big plans to just become larger in the community through commentary, through still competing to a degree, and just overall gaming and like as a whole. Trying to just catapult my platform, if you will, from just working hard this year. But it happens, and I had to come to terms with like just understanding like, yep, this year is a dud. Just work on your stream. Just work at your job. Work on your mental health. Work on your physical health.
Yes. Mental health is very important,
right.
especially in these times. These are rough times.
Absolutely.
People still aren't coping properly or not being able to cope. So it's very important to like get your mental stability in check. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So we're gonna go into this question. It's gonna fork into two different roads, and we're gonna visit both of them. So you learned that there's this underground fight club called the FGC, and like you're getting involved. You made your headway, winning a tournament at Best Buy. Well, so what were the steps that now lead you to one being involved in the KOF community, and as a side note, also going into what I presume is your first team in playoff gaming? Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so how did you get involved into these two worlds?
So KOF was I mean, I always knew KOF kind of existed, but I didn't know what it was, right? Because I used to play the Fatal Fury games as a kid because my cousins had it, and I used to have Samurai Showdown 1 on Super Nintendo. So I always knew of those characters, and I knew of like I played CVS. That's usually I'd say most American kids' introduction to KOF was through like CVS, seeing the characters there. So I always kind of knew it existed. Never played a KOF game though, and one day at this point I'm kind of learning more about the FGC. I'm watching like match footage, and I'm going to Chinatown Fair more and things like that. And we would always see, me and my friends would go, we'd always see KOF 12 there. And KOF 12, I'm not gonna dog on it anymore. It's already been fucking, that game's been dogged out, right? So they used to have it there. They used to actually call it, I don't know if you remember this, but they used to call it EX Coat Rack. The cabinet at Chinatown Fair, because everyone would just throw their coats on the KOF 12 cabinet. Nobody would play hilarious. There. So yeah. So anyways, just like another day, we were at one of my friend's house. About 4 or 5 of us just gaming the usual stuff. We're playing Blaze Blue, Calamity Trigger, and Street Fighter 4. We're just playing those, right? And then 2 of my friends were watching on the computer. They were on my friend's computer. We were at his house, and they were watching matches of, at the time it was KOF 13, but I didn't know like what it was. So they were talking about it, and then I'm looking. I come by. I'm like, yo, what's this? They're like, oh, this is the new KOF. And it's been out in arcades for maybe 2 months at this point. And they're like, oh, this is the new KOF that just came out. And I'm like, what? They made a new one? I thought 12 was like, the worst. I thought it like, no one was gonna buy it. And they was like, nah, this one looks good, dude. Like, check it out. And then I looked at it, and I kid you not, it was literally like love at first sight. Like the rest of the day I was there, I only watched the KOF 13. It was like, yo, Rome, it's your turn. I'm like, no, I'm good. Skip me. Somebody else play.
You remember what stream you were watching? You remember what that was?
It was the KCE, like KOF Encyclopedia.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
It was a YouTube. It was like those matches, and this is how much I love the game that I didn't even care. It would be like the vids would be like a 2-hour video of like nothing but like K-Dash, Raiden, and Kula Diamond mirror matches.
Right, they were the cheapest characters in the first iteration.
Yep, in the arcade.
For the console, yeah.
But I did not care. I would watch those videos every day. I'd watch like 4 hours of like just K, Kula, and Raiden mirror matches constantly, because the game was gorgeous, dude. Like, beautiful looking game. It looked hype. I'm like, yo, this game's dope. Like, and then I don't know if you remember, but there was a time period where like we didn't know if we were gonna get KOF 13 on console.
Right.
So it took a while for it to come out. And I remember Chinatown Fair got they got the cabinet. So they had a cabinet there at Chinatown Fair. And I would go to Chinatown Fair, and this is kind of like I guess a 2-parter in itself, because I would go to Chinatown Fair and I would play, but I didn't know how to use arcade sticks, so I would just play and get like bodied or whatever, right? And then I was like, you know what? We don't know when this game is coming out, so let me learn an arcade stick so I can go to Chinatown Fair and play there. So I borrowed one of my cousin's arcade sticks, started practicing up. Then I'm like, okay, it's still gonna be a while before we get this game, and I don't know when it's coming out. So I went to Google, like everyone does, and I typed in what's the best KOF game? Because I was like, we don't know when 13 is coming out, but I guess I should play another one, right? So what's the best one? And all the answers was like 98 or 2002. Right. Obviously, that's what everyone says. And then I went out to my local mom and pop game store, and they had 98 UM on the PS2. Bought that, and then that's kind of how it started. I started playing 98. Fell in love with everything, with the music and the game and everything. And then from there, I went on and started playing the older KOFs and like doing more research. And I was just hooked. I was so hooked on that game that I stopped playing Street Fighter 4 and just focused on KOF as a whole.
Nice.
And then, KOF 13 comes out. I play that constantly, and yeah. And then, so with going into Play All Gaming, so I remember when the founder Jahan, when he was starting it up, he asked me if I could join. This is when he first started. It was barely off the ground. It was like maybe 1 or 2 people. And I told him at the time, I was like, I wasn't sure, because I was at the time I was like still focusing on school. And he was like, oh, it's fine, no problem. And then I watched it grow a bit, and a lot of my like friends in the scene, they joined the team and stuff like that. And I remember NEC 2015, I think it was 2015, NEC 2015. I went there, and I was competing in KOF 13 that year, and I remember I saw him there, and he had just picked up one of my close friends IRL, because close friends at the time that I was with, they used to play fighting games too, and my boy Uni, he was a really good DeCapre player. He picked him up, and I was like, yo, congrats, you picked up my homie. He's hungry, this and that, whatever. And he was like, yeah, and he was like, I'm glad to have him on, and I would love to have you on still. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll rep PAG just for this event. I was like, just for this event, I'll rep PAG. And then I ended up having a good time, played in bracket, got cooked because I was bad at 13. But after that, we talked more, and I was like, yo, this is cool. I'm down to be a part of a gaming team. And it's, at the time I was still very naive. So it was like, I just wanted to be a part of something cool. You see like all the top players with like, Evil Geniuses or Mad Cats or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, cool. I joined this team. It looks cool. We have a cool name, Play All Gaming, and we're part of this team. But, that's kind of how I joined up with PAG. This is like, I said, like 2015, I think it was. Around that time, 2014, 2015, I can't really remember, but and then I joined, and I was a part of PAG and things like that for a few years.
Good. We're gonna get into your current team a little later on, but what's something you can tell people? What are the qualities and fun things about being a part of an organization, especially when it comes to gaming? Through your experience, in the teams.
From my experience from both teams, well, I've only been a part of two teams, but
right. And
the same thing is the camaraderie, getting tight with like your teammates, because you see them at events, you travel with them, you start to know them more on a personal level, and you realize that there's other things in common that you have outside of just fighting games, and just building friendships out of that. I think that's one of the best things of being in a team, because there's players that you might not have access to if you're not in a team with them, but if you are in a team with them, because you're now under the same umbrella, there might be a situation where you guys talk, and then you realize, oh wow, me and this person are bonding over an anime or a TV show or the same type of music, and then you learn more about the person, and you start to appreciate them more, and you look past that. So there was some friends that I made on PAG that I've hung out with outside of gaming events. Like we went to hang out at movies. We've chilled at like a concert or something, like there's people like that. So that's probably for me the biggest thing is just like, if you have a team that's into that, it's real, everyone likes to hang out and things like that. And, you meet people and learn more about them. Then I think that's like the best thing is like learning how to work together, because it's a team at the end of the day. So if you have a bunch of people on a team and no one talks to each other, it's like, is it really a team?
Right.
Or you guys just walking around in esports jerseys? Like,
right. I definitely agree with that. One of my favorite things about being a part of a team or organization has always been, like, especially when you're a player, is that you always have someone rooting for you. Especially if you're deep in tournament or just a regular match, you have your team, you have your 3, 5, 10 people that are behind you rooting for you. And I think that's always a good thing, because as we all know in life, we don't always have people rooting for us all the time. And that's always a good feeling to have a team, really hold it down for you and like just have your back when especially when you're going through those moments, the stress of the match. Are you winning? Are you losing? What's my next move? And then some people respond well to that support, So is that something for you? How does it feel for you? Like when you're competing and your team, do you like that? Is it too much for you?
I love it. I love when people is like, yo, let's go Rome, teammates or like,
that amp you, that puts the battery in your back, like it amps you up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. And having people in your corner. It's one of those things where it's really cool if it works out, but if you lose, it's like, kind of let everybody down type thing. But I mean, I love it.
But it's unconditional. So even if you lose, they still gave that to you.
They still vibe.
And that in itself, that's a good feeling. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say this past NEC, because this NEC that passed was my very first tournament of a part of Dynamic Focus, because I joined. Well, we'll talk about that later. But I joined at the end of ECT. So NEC was my first tournament, and I never met her at the time when she was on the team. P-Chan. She was on the team at the time. Never met her before. First time I met her was NEC. We talked for a bit because I'm I'm new to the team and stuff. When I played my VSAF pools and eventual grand finals, she was with me the whole time. Literally known her for about 30 minutes, and she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go with you when you gotta play." She's cheering me on in the background the entire time. So I want to say big shout out to her because that was really cool. And that was one of the things like, wow, okay, I just joined this new team, and one of the players is already like, "Yo, let's go, let's get it." I don't know much about you, I don't know much about this game, but we both got the same colors on. Let's rep each other. So and I try to do that too. With players like Gurr and Jackal and everybody saying at the time, like I was around everybody, like, "Yo, how'd you do in bracket? Everything's okay. Yo, you know more about this matchup." Like just try to, hang out in that area and like talk to people and see what's going on with them. And I, like I said, for me, that was really cool what she did for me. And I was like, wow, this is great. I'm still fresh to the team, but the teammates here are already like welcoming, and things like that. And that's what you want.
Awesome. No, that's definitely great to have a support system when you're going through these things. I've been around enough tournaments where I've seen quote unquote loners go at it, and I've seen the depression of like no one really rooting for them. Great players too.
Yeah.
There's a story I definitely remember when with Steve and I were first going to tournaments at big events. And there was a KF tournament one year. I can't remember what year it was, but oh my God, what's the player's name? The Street Fighter player from the Midwest, the player with Abel glasses.
Oh, Juicebox.
Thank you. So yeah. Juicebox was really hitting KOF like when it first came out, like KOF 13. I think it was the Winter Brawl after that year, right? I believe it was the Winter Brawl of 2012. I believe so. So he was in there. He was playing wherever he was. He got bopped. And I remember, shout out to Jukebox. I love you, man. You're awesome. Your content, your personality. I don't care what anyone says about you. I remember me and Steve were leaving like one of the rooms, and we saw him in the corner, like just slumped over, like a game over screen, like like too many to drink. And then we went up, I'm like, "Yo, Jukebox, you good?" And he's like, "Yo, like he's real emotional." He's like, "Nah, I hated how I played the KOF," and you could really see the pain like of him like failing.
Yeah,
because he really loved the game. It was funny because he took that pain and won Street Fighter 4. The game he really didn't want to be successful at. Like the next day, like he ran through top 8. Like it was pretty amazing. So there's like it's those ups and downs and how you take those downs into like the next step. He made it. I guess for me, he made it worth his time. Okay, I lose a Street Fighter, but I win. I mean, I lose in Kara, but I win Street Fighter. It's not a bad trade-off. Yeah, especially it being maybe one of the top games at the time, So, that being said, so how was the transition from PAG to Dynamic Focus? What led you into, it's time to move on? What brought you to Dynamic Focus, and how has it been?
Yeah. So, in short, it was for PAG. It was just time to go. It was amicable, at least on my part. It was it was just time for me, like, because when I originally joined PAG, it was just as like just a player, right? Just like I just want to play games, that's it, competitively. But over the years, I'm like, no, I'm more than this now. I'm a streamer, I'm a commentator now. I'm looked at as a figurehead in the New York SNK scene and just East Coast SNK scene as a whole, of like, helping put things together and just being that guy that's always around and supporting events. So, it was just time to leave PAG. I just wanted to move on. And initially, I didn't leave. Like, it might look like I left PAG to go to directly to Dynamic, but that wasn't the case. I was gone from PAG. I didn't join Dynamic Focus for another like 3 months. And at the time, I was really just trying to figure out what I wanted to do because I was losing my competitive drive as a player. I was like, man, I'm tired of practicing. I'm tired of like, watching all this match footage. I just want to like relax, right? I just want to play casually. So I felt like since that was happening, I didn't have a place on the team anymore because the team, expected players to be competitive. So I was just doing my content thing, just streaming and stuff like that. And then I started talking with I would always talk with Aziza. We'd always talk because she always congratulated me on anything I did. So you always putting in work and things like that. So we would always talk, nothing major. And then just a few months passed, and I had some time for myself, wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was like, it would be cool to be part of a team again. But I was like, I want to make sure I find the right team that's good for me. And it was only two teams that I was interested in, I wanted to be a part of. And I mean, this might be a little, I don't want to say awkward or weird, but one team was definitely Kick Punch Block. And
No, of course, yeah.
but you guys never reached out to me, so I was like, oh man, I don't think they want
Listen,
me.
I hope we never took that seriously. We we go through so many transitions and things, and it's
Yeah.
like, we have to control a lot of damage. It's not bad, but we just want to be organized and stuff. And like, I feel like when we do get approached, it's always at an opportune time.
Yeah,
So
no,
and
it's
then,
understandable.
and
It's
and definitely,
understandable.
and we've always came from a situation where we never wanted to seem like we were poaching players from anyone, because we know what that's like on the other end. Like, we've always had players poach from us, like, all the time, and so we didn't want to be that team or seem like that team, so that was always
Right.
a thing.
It's like stealing other players away.
Right,
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel you.
You know,
Yeah, and it's okay because like I always understood. Like I mean, I knew it was never anything personal because I was,
right.
You guys always been great to me, and I always
Nothing
appreciate
personal,
y'all.
but timing. And I'll tell
Yeah.
Aziza, I'll take him from you whenever I want to. Just to let you know right there. That. No,
Oh,
I love
no.
Aziza. I love Aziza. She's awesome.
Yeah,
She's awesome lady, awesome figure. Like, she's gonna do a lot in just gaming. And how I look at
she's
her
amazing.
is probably how you look at her, guys. Is she like the mother hen? Is she
Oh,
like
absolutely,
corrals
absolutely.
you all in, keeps you guys in check, in focus, like the name says, dynamic focus? Is that like,
Mm-hmm.
is that her job?
Aziza's always working. I have to tell her sometimes, slow down. I will personally DM her and tell her, listen, slow down, get some rest. Did you eat today? Did you? She's always working. If it's not at her regular job, she's doing something pushing dynamic focus. Whether it's
Mm.
merch, whether it's social media, whether it's just basic networking. She works so hard, that lady, and I love her to death. Like I love Aziza. It's been amazing being on Dynamic Focus. Not almost a full year now because it was ECT when I joined,
Right.
and I was in October, I think, last year.
Mm.
So, but yeah, it's been amazing, and she's great. Like all the credit in the world, and she is gonna do great things in the world of esports because she has the work ethic and she's great. She rallies us up. Yeah, we're just like, I mean, we are her kids though, right? So we do things that disappoints mother, but it happens. But she
What is
forgives
the
us at the end of the day. So
what is uh not to be punished here, but what is the dynamic of dynamic focus? Like, how is the team? How you guys get along? How is it? Are you guys really in depth family? Do you guys get mad at each other, annoyed? Is it just like a hi and bye? What is that like?
I'd say it goes back to just like the camaraderie.
Right.
Since I'm not new to the team, but because COVID kind of slowed a lot of things down, I
Mm.
haven't been able to meet everyone as frequent, and we haven't been able to really do events and stuff like that. But every day we're talking in the voice chat, and we learn new things about each other. A lot of us guest hosts on each other's content. Just simple things like a retweet, right, goes a long way. And just like, if somebody's feeling down, you bring them up. Oh man, I'm not feeling it today, I'm feeling kind of tired. Whatever situation is, we try to bring each other up. And a lot of us do have things in common outside of like Uchi. I could talk to Uchi all day about Power Rangers.
Yeah, shouts to
I don't
Uchi.
play
Yeah.
the fighting game.
Yeah.
What's that?
Shouts to Uchi.
Yeah.
He's another cool
Yo,
dude.
oh man, that guy, another, like, dude, I'm surrounded by just like beautiful talent on Dynamic Focus, man. Like it's really hard to keep up.
Uchi, we coming
I'm
for you.
yo, Uchi's the man. But like, just I would say, yeah, just like the dynamic is the friendship and like the camaraderie we have and the support system that we have. And everyone, we kind of do think tanks sometimes too in it, where we'll all think about certain situations and how to improve on them, whether it's through gaming, through streaming, things like that. So I think I can always pop my head in there in the chat and talk with anybody, generally about anything. And now we're starting to do more group streams, so like you're seeing a bit more of that, like we're getting closer, and it's just really good. Like I said, it feels great to be a part of like a team where everyone is easygoing, everyone's easy to talk to, everyone's working. Like that was the most like thing that stood out to me the most, was that like during this lockdown we're all working, no one stopped working. Like, yeah, we can't do events, fine, we got YouTube, we got podcasts, we got streaming, we got like marketing, just things like that. Everyone on Dynamic Focus has a role and they play their role right. Everyone does, they continue to work and they continue to keep going despite the world situation. So I think that is the true dynamic of Dynamic Focus, in my eyes at least.
Nice. So getting more into your playing career, respectful or disrespectful, who are your rivals in the community?
Respectful, like
rivals you have respect for, and rivals you pop off and talk about their mom as soon as you get a win on them. If there's someone like that, I think most players, I think everyone has players like that, players that they respect, players they can't stand.
I have played. The thing is though, I don't want to be like
you don't have to. I don't want to name anyone you don't really like. I'm not pushing you to, but definitely, I do want to know who's your rival.
No, if there's people I didn't like, I would definitely say fuck them if it was nobody I didn't like. But I don't like this players. The people that I'm like, man, like, how can I say this? Probably the most disrespectful rival is actually one of my close friends, and that's Marco Polo. I hate Marco Polo, the player. Like, I fucking hate that guy because I know I can beat him. I've beaten him plenty of times in casuals. I just have not done it in bracket, and that's what kills me.
Okay,
but like, I mean,
Marco's
amazing.
Can get under your skin. I've watched many a match. I played some casuals with him. He's not easygoing. But I think that's his part his personality and part his desire for his surroundings to be good, and he wants his community to be good, and if that means him getting under your skin to help build that, I think that's what he does. So
yeah,
I
and he does it well. He does it well. I mean, he's a great person. I love, like, Marco is amazing. Marco, when you're not playing against him in a fighting game, perfect person. When you're fighting him, he knows the way he plays. He just knows how to get under your skin and force you to do, make rash decisions or like spin meter in situations you shouldn't have and do certain things. Like, he's such a good player at like breaking down the mental. Okay. I think he can really break his opponent's mental down and like destroy them. So, but he's someone like, so he's like, I hate fighting him, but like, mad props to the guy. He's an amazing player. Respectful rivals. Animonk has been coming a long way. He's one of your boys. I love Animonk. He was like a young kid in the scene when I met him, and he's come a long way. I think when KOF 15 drops, I think he's going to be like one of the breakout players, like, to really look out for, because he's been getting so good. I love playing him. Malik, Milky J, that's like one of my original mentors in KOF. I can play Malik all the time in either KOF 13 or 14, doesn't matter. Guys like that. Aru, I love playing Aru. Talented, smart player. We go back and forth. Aru beat me this day, I'll beat him tomorrow. He beat me the next day, I beat him tomorrow. It doesn't matter. So players like that. Who else? Shadow is a player because he's just an old school, like, Shadow he's KOF. Like, he's
Richard
like
Hahn.
Raw. He's like KOF and Raw. Yeah, he's been around since forever. He's played back in the arcade days. He played.
I can always count on him for a beer every time I see him.
Yeah, he's IRL chin, man. That guy. The more he drinks, the better he gets.
Yep.
So, funny story about that. I remember there's a KOF tournament called Boston Blue Beat, and we all went out there to play. And like a week before that, he beat me at I think it was a Summer Jam event. He beat me in it, destroyed me because he was drinking. At the Boston Blue Beat, we got there and we found out that they don't allow alcohol. And I won. I beat him in grand finals, and I was like, "Yes!" I was like, I only won because he didn't drink, right? Like, I was feeling myself.
Yeah,
But it was pretty funny. But I guess those players, man. But in terms of respect, I'm not a KOF game. I'd say a player that I love to fight is Duke. Hardbred. I think
Okay.
Hardbred is just about any game.
old school. Any
he
old
played.
school, like those like all those games from EX, Street Fighter EX, or
Right.
KOF. Yeah,
VSAV,
he's
yeah,
the
Alpha
too old,
game.
too furious guy. Yeah, definitely. Respects to Hardbred.
Mad respects to Hardbred. Yeah, like I love playing him in anything. If it's not, even if it's not SNK, I don't care.
He doesn't
I
go to
like playing
many
him in.
majors. I think the last major I saw him in was probably like an old Biggie event when like 13 was still fairly new.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he's more of a like you'll see him at next level.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, when next level used to be open, he would be there like throughout the week. You go to the basement where the Third Strike Cavs are, and like you'll see Duke over there. You know, you go to a Lunar Phase event and you see him playing anime. Like he plays. Duke is like probably one of my favorite players in the scene as a whole, just because he like the range of games. You know,
Right.
the old school anime. Like he could play a few modern games if he wants, but he prefers like that. You know.
Right.
The old arcade Street Fighter and games like that. So, but I guess that's really it. I don't. You know what? I'm very nice, man, at these tournaments, and there's people I know that they like if they beat me or if like they kind of feel themselves if they beat me. Like there's a lot of players that I know, especially back in the KOF 13 days, because they didn't like me for whatever reason it was. I don't know. But for me, you know what my pop off is? Because I've never really popped off on somebody after beating them. My pop off is like if I beat you in bracket and then I hear you go to your friends and you're complaining like, oh, he only won because like Billy Kane or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's my pop off. When I hear you complain about my character to your friend,
yeah,
that's like I'm good. That's my pop off.
Just to get a reaction out of you, like, damn it, I hate that character, whatever.
Yeah, when you go cry to your friends because you can't, I'm zoning you out with Billy Kane and you can't move. That's my pop off. I bust when I hear that.
that was my Billy in like KOF 13. Like it's so aggressive and like people just couldn't stand it. And, like I get more OCVs than anything, not intentionally because I it's just fun playing Billy in 13 especially.
Yeah,
and sometimes I'll just get in the zone and I'm like just making good reads and I didn't know Billy was I had to play a weird team. I used to play like Billy, Robert, Clark.
Oh man.
So so that but Billy was like probably the best character on that team at the time. And like
13 for sure.
Yeah, and I would just get the hate and like that you're right. That's more satisfying than like you being a jerk and like
Yeah. Like, it's delicious. You hear them complaining about your character, like man, I'm in his head. Like
that's
he's
yummy.
mad. Like I
That's
love that.
delicious.
I hear that all day. Yup.
Oh man. What's a fighting game out there right now that you don't normally play that you feel needs more shine in the community?
Modern fighting game, I'd say that.
Yeah, modern, some modern, sort of modern, or may continue to develop something that's out in the last, say, 3-4 years, or has been in tournaments in the last few. Something that a game that you feel it's good, it just needs more shine.
I'm gonna take a wild pick here, and I'm actually gonna say, I think BlazBlue Tag is really hyped to watch.
Okay.
Like if you watch like BlazBlue Tag at high level, is a beautiful game, and I'm not just talking about Ruby Gord. I know they kind of made it a little like boring, but characters like Carmine, like I used to watch Reno play Carmine, and the stuff he would do was like magnificent. And I think that's a game where it always had a stigma of being like not a mainline BlazBlue. So even though it was a scene for it for a while, and people were cracking out on it, I feel like it always had a stigma, like a negative energy around it, because people were like, oh, it's not a mainline BlazBlue game, what is this, it's easy mode, it's only 3 buttons, and whatever the case is. But I think BlazBlue Tag is definitely it's one of the hyper crossover games to me in terms of viewing. It's a great game to watch, to spectate.
And the second season DLC came out just last year, right? Like
yeah,
last year.
Yep, last year November was
Yeah.
it's like with the big patch where they had like the tank from Blitzcamp and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and Hart was in there. It's got a great roster. It's got a great look. And I think it's not a hard game to play. It's hard to win because you have to really learn how to use, like the cross assault moves where it's like you can bring out your partner and you both do like combos and stuff. But it's like it's really in depth. You can be super creative in that game. And I think it's a game that if you put it on, I think a lot of people will like it, because it's almost like Marvel and everyone loves Marvel, right? So
Right.
but I would say that game, yeah, because I think most fighting games now get some decent shine. Tekken 7 is the best thing right now going. MK11 does well. Street Fighter is Street Fighter, you know. So and Samurai Showdown is doing fairly well as far as the scene is concerned. So I think most games are doing okay, But I think BlazBlue Tag is a game that didn't have a long lifespan, and it always kind of had that stigma around it. And even though I don't play BlazBlue Tag, when I would go to majors and BlazBlue Tag Top 8 was on, if I wasn't in bracket, I was sitting in that in that front row in the hotel watching. I was watching BlazBlue Tag, whether it was to support friends that was in top 8 or just watching it in general. I always thought it was a hype game. So
yeah, definitely, man. I think there's a lot of games that have potential, but for whatever reason, whether it's the community or the developer side, they don't get the love it deserves, and they fall to the wayside. Which is difficult to watch as someone who's a big fan of fighting games in general. I like to see 99% of fighting games succeed. Not a fighting game that I really hate. I'm a fighting game fan, so it's just weird to watch. Games in general fail. I think, but yeah, we support what we can. As a segue to that, I know you were really amped about Samurai Showdown when it was out. How are you feeling about the game these days?
I still enjoy it, just not at a high level, but I enjoy it casually. Like I'll play it every once in a while. Now I just usually kind of run online brackets for it and do commentary, but I do like the game. It's Samurai Showdown. You got to wear your heart on your sleeve, man. That game sometimes it's like it is like your blood pressure will shoot through the roof, dude. Like you got rage explosion activated and someone's running at you. You're gonna react with something, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a backdash or a spot dodge or something, you're gonna be like, oh man, you're gonna get scared, and then the person might read you right, and then you eat an Eason and you lose like 75% of your health. And it's like, oh
Jump
man,
back
like
into Ethan. Oh my god, this is the worst,
dude. Like that game is just wild, man. And I do like watching it. That's why I love being on the sidelines. I love commentating it. It's an explosive game. Playing it wise though, I will say for sure that it's not my favorite game, which is why I I didn't even play it that long competitively. I think I played it for like I don't know, like maybe a month or two, and I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this. I mean, they've since then patched the game, and it is better. I do think it's a great game. Like, so I don't want to make it sound like I don't like it because I do like the game, and I think it's a better game. I just think for me personally, it's better to spectate it versus playing it. Spectating is great. I love seeing two players just go nuts, right, and play a game of chicken. See who, like when both players got a rage explosion activated, like who's gonna pop first, right? Who's gonna be the one to move and act first? So I definitely think it's one of the more hype games if you know what's going on and you're watching it.
Right.
But it's definitely something that like in terms of playing at a competitive level, I'm like, man, I'll chill. I'll just chill and watch. Even though it's funny because when I started playing the game, when I was really into getting good at it, I was doing okay. Like I wasn't getting like top 8s. I was like getting out of pools, but I wasn't getting like top 16s and stuff. But when I slowed down and I would just enter the support, I was getting top 8s. Like I got top 8 at NEC. I'm like, like I've been stopped playing the game by that point, Frosty, I got out of pools. I got like top. I mean, Frosty was stacked, but I got really far and I haven't played the game at that point.
Right.
So it was one of those things where I guess I stopped caring and I did better. But when I really wanted to get good at it, it was like, it was hard. It was really hard. It took me a while. Like, it's a game that I think it kind of mentally breaks you and then you have to remold, excuse me.
Right.
Remold yourself to adjust how it plays. Because it's not a traditional fighting game. There's a lot of things that work in fighting games that may not work in that.
Right.
It's a little different. So
It's
you just
definitely
gotta adjust
different
to it.
strategies. For me, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm more of a spectator now with that game, but I can really appreciate the character diversity. I watch like so many like top eights and finals, different characters across the board, and like
Yep.
probably the most in any fighting game right now. And we're talking about these are we're in the age of rosters of like 20, 30, 40 characters in the game, and you still see the same 5 to 10 characters on screen all the time. Uh, Samurai Shodown has what right now about 25 characters maybe. Um,
Yeah,
I
something like that.
I've
25,
seen a
yeah.
good like half 2/3 of the cast in like top eight, top four situations. Characters that were once considered super bottom tier now in that same in that boat where they're about to win a tournament or in position to win a tournament. And I'm very appreciative for that because it is the biggest struggle we all have with fighting against competitors is a balance, right? And
Yeah,
like
for sure.
you can't it's to the point where we don't even know what's considered perfect balance, right? Like we want all characters to be viable, but then like we don't want. I guess we want some kind of an edge at the same time, and it's there's no rule book for this stuff. There's no rule book when the game's designed and programmed. They just do it and they go, oh, I made this by mistake. Let's go back and fix it. So it is refreshing for me personally to see that character diversity in Samurai Showdown, and that's what makes it fun for me as a spectator to watch.
Yeah, that's actually true. It's funny because Shizumaru is considered the best character by most people will say he's number one, right?
Right.
And then in America we barely have Shizumarus. Like we don't really run him. Other countries, I know Japan, they love like Shizumaru and Jubei, they run a lot over there.
Yeah, they don't shy from
But
them
like
at
over
all.
here, yeah, they trying to bust, they trying to win, man. But like it's and then you got characters on say like Wu. Wu's considered bottom three, but you might see her get brought out because she does well against certain top tiers. So it's like even if she's considered a bad character or a weaker character, she does good like against characters like Ukyo. Once she puts a trap out, he can't slide. That's it.
Yeah, no sliding.
So he can't slide. Yep. Now she gets to do what she wants. So it's like even though these are weaker characters, because of the matchups,
Right.
you can actually see characters that you won't see often be used in certain matchups, which makes them, which makes the game more diverse, which is always cool for spectators. I don't care what anyone says. As a competitive player, and I was a casual player first, competitive player later. I love to see diversity. I do not want to watch a top eight where everyone is rocking Vegeta on Anka and Cell on point, and then like Bardock.
You mean first year Samurai Shodown Evo when it was like 7 Genjuros?
Oh my dude, I turned it off. I couldn't watch it.
Who's the best Genjuro?
I could not watch it.
It's called Genjuro
I didn't
Showdown.
watch Samurai Shodown Evo until it was like top 32, and I was like, nope, I'm not watching these scrub Genjiros that half of them don't know what they're doing. They just probably heard this character's top tier, so they just go into a bracket and pick him. I was like, I'm not watching this. I can't watch these fools. Went right to top 32, and I was like, I'll just watch this because top 32 is gonna have the better players. I know what they're doing.
Dude,
even though it was still a lot of Genjiro, but
I was rooting for Alex Valle because he was just busting ass with like what's his name, Galford. And Galford was considered in the middle, not really one to hang in the top, but he was beating the sea of Genjuros right into the top 8. I was like, yeah, man, this guy's. I want to see a USA Galford win this, Gaijin, and then of course, Hanafuda card in the face, and that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
But
yep.
yeah, man, it's great to watch, those diverse settings and like, and you learn stuff. You definitely learn stuff. The game is not called Genjuro Showdown EX anymore. Not as
right.
A nice variety of players to learn and learn strategies and tech and get better. So that's definitely what I want for all fighting games across the board.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely. When COVID is over, what do you hope to get back into? What do you hope to rekindle or like restart or like put all your eggs in the basket on?
I want to get back back to commentating events. That's number
Right.
one priority. Well, just being at events in general. Like,
Right.
I didn't realize how much I really treasured events until it was like you can't go to them anymore. That's something I miss, just hanging out with a bunch of people, drinking and playing games and just talking trash about games or just talking about anything. Like I miss that so much.
Can you
So
paint
that's like
that
the number
picture
one.
like a little more in depth? With these are people, we get people that watch this that really don't know what it's like to be at an event, and like I always stress people that are into fighting games to come to one of these events. Despite what you may have heard on a negative level, forget all that. Tell if you were selling it to someone today, what would you say to them?
So I'm gonna just tell you straight up: if you like loud noises, hanging out, loud people, cool people, fun people, drinking, just getting to know people, like getting to know more about a human being, like fighting game events, like definitely are it. If you want a sense of freedom, like for me, like my very first event that I went to, like at a hotel was ECT 20. I forgot what number it was, but it was 2013. I don't know if that's ECT 5 or like 4 or something. I don't remember which number. But that was the first event I went to. I was 21 years old. This was the first time I was at a hotel, and it wasn't like with family on vacation. I was at a hotel with some friends in a different state. We're 21 now, so we're legally able to drink. And that weekend was one of the most fun weekends of my life. I got to meet a lot of people. The first night of the event, there was a Marvel 2 exhibition. Just imagine being in a ballroom. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is going on. You got Yipes on the mic, and I think Golden Boy Neo. I think those two are on the mic. Marvel exhibition. Everyone's just going crazy, having fun.
Was that the four-way exhibition? Was that Sanford and JC60 and
I think it was
like some kind of weird round robin four
It was
player?
like it was done on a Friday night, and it was like a round robin. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, my memory's a little foggy on that, but I do remember it was a Marvel 2 exhibition. But I'm pretty sure I saw Santhrax up there as a name on the in the display. So but it was like that alone, man. And then the fact that you play your matches, it's just a huge color of people, man. You go to FGC events, you see everybody, every race is there, every gender is there, everyone is there playing games, having fun. You play your games. Maybe you don't enter, maybe you do enter. You enter bracket, you go far. It's cool if you do. If you don't go far, that's still fine, because later on that night, a Saturday night when everything's slowing down, everyone gets together. They go to like, oh, we're gonna have KOF 13 in room 300 or whatever. You go to room 300, you got people in there playing, cracking out games. You ask for next. Like, it's just the fact of, it's like you're in an event where you're doing what you love, what you one of your like favorite hobbies. You're doing it the entire weekend. You're around other people who share the same feelings about you as these games, the same passion, that want to get better, who are willing to get better, and they'll help you get better. And then there's the aspect of just like hanging out. Like one of my favorite experiences, once again, bring up NEC, is like one of my favorite tournaments. Every year at NEC, when we would have it at the casino, the casino venue, the SNK heads, we'd all put money together and rent out. There's a suite on the top floor, the 14th floor. There's a giant suite, has like 5 rooms, big TV. Every NEC, we'd rent that out, and all over there, you just got KOF. Is KOF galore. 14, 13, 98. You got other SNK games. Everyone's drinking so much beer, so much food's being bought. And then if you're lucky, a wrestling pay-per-view might be on. So while Sunday Finals is going on, we got one monitor we're watching Sunday Finals, and the other monitor on the big screen, we're watching like whatever WWE pay-per-view's on. So everyone's going nuts watching wrestling, hanging out. Like, it's just a beautiful feeling. It's like having a Super Bowl party for the entire weekend. That's one way I can connect to. And that's something that I can't wait to get back to when things open up. And I hope that, because we were locked down for so long and we were, we couldn't go out, I hope that people that were reluctant to go to FGC events, I hope that now they're going to be like, I was in a position where I couldn't go. Now I'm going to take that leap of faith and go out to my local or go to my first major and see how it is, Because yeah, it is negativity in the scene. We've seen a lot of that stuff going on
Yeah.
the past few months, but there's also a lot of positive to it, and there's a lot of
Right.
people that come to these events to do what the event is about is making friends and playing games. There's negativity in everything. You just got to dodge that and go straight for the positivity. And I can honestly say that most of my tournament experiences have been positive, have been amazing. And like I said, being locked down, it really, really made me miss those and take it for granted. So I just really can't wait for, the minute they say, oh, we can have events at hotels now, and the next event is going to be such and such tournament. I am immediately going to work the next day and taking that weekend off if I'm not already off, and I will be there.
I'm going to probably the first safe major anywhere in this country. Like that's how bad it's been. Like,
yeah,
one of the things that deemed safe, if it's like Northwest Majors in Seattle, I'm out. I'm going there. I just want to go
flying. We out
flying. Jet lag and everything. Just to be at an event, man, because we miss it. It's a big part of our community that because of COVID now we have to like find ways around it and find ways to just cope until we hopefully get to return to it.
Yeah,
it's interesting, man. I always tell people that I have friends, casual friends that ask about the fighting game, and they see what I do. I show them video. I show other people. Oh, so and so. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, just come out to a local spot. Let's see how you feel there. And if that does it for you, man, then get ready to do more. Get ready to really review what we're like. And what it's like to be an event. The atmosphere, the excitement. The oohs and ahs, in the middle of your game, and you snap your head, no matter what game it is, because you got to see what's happening, And trust me, we've all done it. It doesn't matter what game is on. If you get a good ooh and an ah, you're gonna look,
Oh yeah, you hear some crowd going nuts. Like, yo, what game is that? You turn by.
It could be like Tournament Fighters, or like
yeah. Sailor Moon or something.
Sailor Moon, something. Like, yeah, you're looking. So that's the beauty of it.
Some hype going on. For sure, man.
Oh man, so I want to call this a day. I want to thank you definitely for being on board and like sharing a little bit of yourself with us. Any shout outs? Any people you want to say what's up to? Any hopes, wishes for the community?
Just for shout outs, let's say, big shout outs to you guys for having me on.
Thank you.
And for always being in my corner, giving me opportunities, like I said, whether, running when you guys were running events and when you guys would have me on the mic and always being someone to just kind of talk to. You guys have always been great to me, and I'm always going to appreciate, everyone on Kick Punch Block. So just shout outs to you guys. Shout outs to Dynamic Focus. Like I said, I love my team and they're great, and we're going to do great things. And just shout outs to everyone who's, been using this lockdown to improve themselves in any way it is, whether it's fighting games, whether it's a mental thing, whether it's, your healthy choices, whatever it is, just big ups to everyone. And, what was the second part of that question?
Any wishes you have for people, for the community, for the world, any parting words?
One last shout out too, because I just was remembering too, like big shout outs to like all the SNK heads that are like keeping games alive, like with Parsec, running the Parsec events. Like shout outs to all the West Coast family, Angela, Andy, they know who they are, the Midwest, the DMV crew, everybody. Just shout outs to them for like all the hard work they do to keep playing their games despite everything. And I was gonna say, just my only plans is just that we can get back to, what we called normal. That's all I want. I just want to get back to the best thing we can, and I'm hoping that we have a better FGC from it. That it increases more positivity. I hope that we got rid of the negativity earlier this year, and I hope that going forward now things can be a lot better, and a lot more smooth, and a lot cleaner, and just anything to overall enhance the fighting game experience, and of course KOF 15. Just don't be a letdown.
Before we go, what's your one wish for KOF 15? What's your one make or break wish that has to be in the game?
I know it's never gonna happen, But my one wish, I want them to go back to like the old like Neo Geo sounding music. But I know that's never gonna happen. So
I can see that. I can
that's
see
what I
that.
want. I want that, and I want teammates in the background. That I can see happening.
My one wish is they gotta have Team USA. I tell Steve all the time, if Team
Ooh,
USA
yeah.
is not in that game, I'm boycotting it. I love you guys, SK. Listen to me clearly. You gotta have those guys. I don't care about these newbies talking about the new face team. Yoshio can have a seat. These guys have been waiting on the benches for a minute. They gotta come back, and
Since
that's all
94,
I
dude.
ask. Dude, if they come back, I'm gonna play that team religiously. Okay, I'm gonna be the best Team USA player in the world. That's how serious I am about this. But yeah, definitely. Before you go, give us social media, man. How can people reach you and talk to you, hit you up?
So my Twitch, this which usually what I'm on is twitch.tv/Rome himself. I basically stream like 4 to 5 days a week. Specifically Wednesdays, like later on, I'm gonna be doing what I call Whack Wednesday. And we just play fighting games. We have song requests on, and I have people on Discord. It's usually wild, so viewers' discretion is advised. But it's always a fun time.
Definitely.
But definitely check me out if you want to see what I play. I play a bunch of games, but I do dedicate time to fighting games. My Twitter is at Romulus. That's at ROMULUS_himself. For some reason, Rome himself was taken, so there's another Rome himself in the world. I don't know. Weird. But you can follow me on Twitter, where you'll see me retweet memes and sometimes lewds, because we be horny on main sometimes. It is what it is. But that's really it. I don't use a lot of other things. To be honest, I hate social media, but you got to use it in this time to promote yourself. Now that's pretty much it. You're gonna see me on Cyberpunk, when that drops. So
Okay.
I guess you can check out my PSN. It's Rome No Like You, all together in caps. If you want to get some games and anything. And that's pretty much it.
Well, Romulus, Mr. Booker, thank you so much for coming on to our show, gracing us with your presence for our first episode, second season of KPBCast. This is KPB Rodimus Prime. Good times, good night. See you guys soon. Take care.
Later.
You win.
This has been a KPB Media Works production.